This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. The government seems to be moving closer to selling the Grand Lucayan Resort. Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar says negotiations are still advancing with Royal Caribbean and the ITM Group requesting a 30-day extension.
Royal Caribbean and ITM have asked for a 30-day extension. They actually asked for a greater extension, but we told them that it should be a 30-day extension. And so, it's a complicated transaction. There are lots of twists and turns that will always happen in a negotiation. So, my report to you is it's progressing well.
It was in March that the government signed a letter of intent with RCL and ITM for the purchase of the property and redevelopment of the Freeport Harbor for $65 million. This was followed up with the news that the government is preparing to sell the property by October. However, former Tourism Minister Obi Wilshcombe last week told our news team the government seems to not have a strategic plan for the resort. The gaming amendment bill on its second stretch having been passed in the House of Assembly yesterday, the proposed legislation is on to the Senate. Contributing to Thursday's debate was Yamacraw MP Ellsworth Johnson, who condemned the unacceptable practice of leaving children in cars outside gaming houses simply to run in and game.
And a part of the responsible gaming is it places an obligation on the gaming house operator that there are certain persons who should not be within the precinct of gaming houses. And we need to say that so as a part of the education, people could know this. And so they can call the gaming board and say where they see these things. Or we see a child standing in the front of a door of a gaming house, snap a picture. We like taking pictures. Snap a picture of that and send it to the game.
Now, in terms of filing a report that can be done by a family member of an applicant or suspected gaming abuser, a person of whom the applicant is economically dependent, someone who is economically responsible for that applicant, someone deemed mentally unfit, can also be reported to the gaming board. Minister Johnson also taking issue with the fact that gaming house revenues mainly generated through poor people, placing bets typically under $10.
And that is where the gross revenue of these institutions derive their monies from. It's not from foreign direct investment. It's from the investment of the 10 cent, dollar, $2, $5, Mr. Speaker, where some persons are able to get at the end of the year to have revenues in excess of $30 million. Can you imagine it? 10 cents, 5 cents, $5, $10 from poor people can give one person in excess of $30 million. That's just one operator.
There are 7 licensed gaming operators. Anglican MP Glenys Hannah Martin taking on the plight of BTC employees and comments made by Liberty Latin America CEO Balan Nair. The PLP rep telling House members she never supported BTC's sale to a foreign entity, and for a good reason.
But this is what happens. You see, these international agencies come in here and they tell you privatize. Yeah. That's what they tell you.
They do.
And then, of course, when you privatize, it's usually in multinational corporations. So what you effectively do is alienate something that's in your own national interest and your own national security interest, but because you took their advice, you alienate ownership. And as a result of that, this is where we are. Our major telecommunications company is owned by a foreign entity led by someone in Jamaica who's laughing and talking about us with other Caribbean people as if we ain't worth anything.
In the meantime, she says BTC workers are anxious, fearful, hurt, and angry, adding that they've been crying out and voicing their concerns about job security and mistreatment for a year with no response from the government. Mr. Nair, during a recent Liberty Global Town Hall meeting in Jamaica, said BTC is one of Liberty Latin America's lowest performing subsidiaries and casted blame on the company's employees for its performance. Mr. Nair was also captured on video alleging that during a recent meeting with the Prime Minister, he urged for Bahamians to be employed. However, he mocked that Dr. Minnis was not trying to make eye contact with BTC CEO Garfield Sinclair, a Jamaican national. Parliamentary Secretary for the Office of the Prime Minister, Pakeisha Parker Edgecombe, labeled Mr. Nair's comments as unacceptable and extraordinarily inappropriate. And our final stories are up next.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.